When I was 10 years old, a fortnight's mission was held in our local church, and each evening the missioner, the person conducting the mission, invited people to come forward to the communion rail at the front of the church if they wanted to give their lives to Jesus Christ. One evening I knew that God was calling me. It was an inner feeling. And on that occasion I heard the voice of Satan as loudly as I have ever heard it, and he said, "You don't know what to do when you get there." And I sat tight in my seat. However, God had his hand on me, and 4 days later I responded to that call, and I can only say I was propelled from my seat, probably 10 metres back in the church, to the front. And my memory of it is very vivid, that there were only 3 strides in that exercise. In my teens, I felt a call to preach the Christian gospel. And over the years, I have held almost every office open to a layman within the Methodist Church. But the call to preach the gospel is the one call from which I have never tired. My work began at South Crofty Mine, where I was installing mining plant, and then I took over the family business and launched into civil engineering contracting. I closed down the business when inflation was rampant and went to work for consulting engineers, and that led me into local government without so much as an interview. Another illustration of the way God's hand was on my life. I have no technical qualifications, but over the years I managed to work my way up to a management position, developing as I went a skill in the preparation of specifications for local authority contracts such as grounds maintenance and refuse collection, and these were used for tendering purposes. As the years went on, the workload was increasing through new legislation, and I didn't realise how stress was building up within me. Yes, the work was piling up on the desk, but I told myself that if I prioritised that work, I would get through it. But of course it was later on that I realised that if there are only 40 hours in the week, we can only do 40 hours work. It was at this time when the stress was building that disaster struck. My nephew Philip, who was 35, died from stomach cancer, which first attacked him when he was 33. He was a doctor, a GP in Cumbria. Our son Jonathan was exactly 10 years younger than Philip. And it was then that I heard the voice of Satan again. And he said, "What if it was Jonathan? What if it is Jonathan in 10 years' time?" I'm pleased to say that's 14 years ago, and Jonathan is fine. But it was the straw that broke the camel's back for me. And the onset of illness came. There was no sign of depression. There was no medication. But I was ill. It meant that I retired a month before my 55th birthday. On a pension that was livable, I was most fortunate in that. But still, we find as soon as we retire, the question that people want to know is, what are you doing now? We're in this doing culture, and we've always got to be doing, and people want to know what we're doing. We're not allowed to relax. Well, I used to look at the job pages of the West Briton each week, and I can hear myself now sitting in the lounge at home saying aloud, "Lord, I don't feel able to do any of these jobs. And it was then that I heard the Lord's voice in a very audible way, and I'm not one who's used to hearing such voices. And he said, Paul, I want you to be something for me, and let your doing arise out of your being. Well, that is a very difficult balance to achieve. I've always loved the doing. I'm handy with my hands. My wife says I'm too handy and everybody wants me to do something for them. But the balance is something that I am still working on day by day. You see, until I was 52, I hadn't said no to anyone. Since then I have learnt to say no, but it's a very hard one. I am delighted to say that my health has improved and that life is very good. In the Bible, in Isaiah chapter 41 and verse 10, we read, So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. And God has proved that to be true in my experience. I would invite you to put your faith in Jesus as I have done. He is able to bring us through whatever life throws at us. And having sorted eternity in that relationship with Jesus Christ, you and I can go on to live life to the full.